Okay, so I believe we are recording. Okay. Hello and welcome to your Wednesday Advanced webinar. My name is Jared Krebs. I'm here in San Antonio, Texas. And before we bring on our guest for today's call, I just want to remind you of 10 things to expect when building your Usana business. Number one, there will be ups and downs, just like anything. Number two, success or failure is up to you. If you succeed, it's because of you. If you fail, it's because of you, not because of Usana, not because of the person who invited you to Usana, not because of your team. Success or failure is up to you. Number three, the goal is for you to become independent and be an independent example for your team. Number four, make your plan on the weekends, do it, review it, and make adjustments. Plan, do, adjust. Number five, it's gonna take time. It's gonna take 1 year to become competent at the skill sets to do this. It's gonna take 3 years to develop a significant part-time income. It's going to take 5 years to develop a significant full-time income and 7 years to become world-class. It can happen faster, but it's going to take time. Number six, it takes consistent work and hustle. You have to be consistent at this week in and week out, just like you would be at a job. Consistency is key. Number seven, you're going to have to grow and get outside of your comfort zone and do Facebook Lives. That's right. I said it. You're going to have Facebook Lives. Number eight, mental toughness is necessary. You've got to be mentally tough. Number nine, the grass is not greener in other companies. The grass is greener where you water it. And number 10, this is a long-term game. 27 years strong with over $2.5 billion paid to its associates. It's given me and my wife a full-time income for over a decade, as well as thousands of people around the world, because it works if you work. And hundreds of thousands of people have part-time income with Usana over the 27 years, for sure. Bonus tip, amateurs sell products, but professionals sell the vision. Make sure that you're sharing these videos with your clients and your new associates. Make sure that they're seeing all these different stories so that they can get the vision of what Usana can be, not just a great product, a great income opportunity, a great community, a great personal growth vehicle. And few have done it better than Foundation Executive 5-star Diamond Director, Bryan Penrod. Bryan, welcome to the call.
Hey, I'm excited to be on, especially being able to be interviewed by you, man. You're rocking the business nationwide. Everybody's hearing your name and your team. It's awesome to see what you guys are doing.
Well, thank you so much. Well, I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know you have a lot going on, and I just want to also acknowledge you for being my mentor, one of my top mentors, examples. I remember when I was brand new, watching your success and seeing you in the publications and being like, wow, I want to be associated with him. And over the years, we've become friends, and it's just been such an awesome experience for me to be able to learn from you and to be also your friend. So thank you for being here.
Well, you're a great example of the student becoming the master. That's what I've seen happen, especially the last few years. It's been amazing to watch.
Oh, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, we're all excited. We want to hear just, I guess, really a little of your story. You know, I know that most people on this call do know your story, but there are probably some that will watch the recording or some that are brand new that don't. And so we want to know, like, what was your life like prior to Usana? What were some of the challenges you were dealing with? Then you became successful in Usana, and then you had kind of like a period of like, you let your success kind of be like you just went maybe on autopilot for a while, and now you're back in the trenches. So like, we want to know about all the journey. We have about 30 minutes.
Okay.
We'll open it up maybe for the last 7 minutes or so for questions. But take it away. We want to know.
Well, make sure to keep me on track. And if you have a specific question, feel free to stop me too, because I'll lose track of time. I don't have a clock in front of me.
Okay, I will.
Okay, cool. So prior to Usana, well, first early on, getting out of high school, I had no idea what I really wanted to do. And I think that's like most people. And I was very, I wondered. And I knew that we lived in this amazing land of opportunity. I was recommended by my parents because they always try to give you the best advice, right? I was recommended to go to college and to go and become actually initially I was recommended to become a traveling nurse. And then after that, it was going to be I ended up studying at the university, ended up studying engineering. And so going to college was an amazing experience for a few different reasons. One of those being that I learned exactly what I did not want to do with my future. But the other amazing experience that happened my first semester was running into a guy that used to be my boss at my very first job when I used to work at Shamu Stadium at SeaWorld. And so he introduced me to this profession at 18 years old, and I just did not get it. I thought, this seems like way too good to be true. People are living the lifestyles of their dreams. By the thousands I was getting access to, and it just didn't really sink in. But so I ended up waiting tables, going full-time, working in restaurants for a number of years to pay for college. I didn't have anything handed to me on a silver spoon. And I was just exploring, and I was open-minded to looking at opportunities, and some amazing things happened that told me that this was going to be the profession for me. It was like an intuition, but also if you ever pay attention to signs, so to speak, that happen in your life, some amazing signs happen. I remember being at a very well-trafficked gas station here in town at one point in time at 281 in Bitters. And I remember going in and seeing all of these magazines. I think I was like 20 years old, 21 years old. And I remember seeing this guy on the cover of Success magazine, and he was earning, it said on the front of the magazine, $500,000 a month back then. And I was like, whoa, that's amazing. And so I just, I read the article, bought the publication, and it was so interesting that 3 days later, the guy was sitting in my section at Papacitos where I used to work, and I recognized him. And anyways, I got involved with the first company that looked good at the time. I didn't really know how to evaluate the industry, the profession. And like you said, starting out this call, like I believe those 10 points that you gave were really wise. And one of them that you talked about was, being, the amount of time it takes to be basically part-time, and then to go full-time on average, and then to become a seasoned professional. And those 2.5 years that I invested, I actually, it was about two college semesters into starting my network marketing business. I decided to go full-time with it on a waiter's salary. And I wasn't earning hardly any income with my previous opportunity, but the most magical, the best thing was happening because I was listening. I was surrounding myself with amazing people, with amazing mentors, people that were where I wanted to be in life, people that had vision, people that knew where they were headed, people that had time freedom, people that talked about what it would be like to have a business that happened while you slept, as the world turned. And like, I could actually capitalize on something like this. And they were talking about how this network marketing profession was the wave of the future. And they exposed me to personal development. And I learned very, very early on that a huge part of this business is personal development. Who knows what the real number is? I've heard it said that it's as high as 90%. And that seems about right to me. So those first initial couple of years in the network marketing profession were invested listening to literally, I tuned out the television. They said my mentors told me that a television was called an automatic income reducer. And so I turned off the TV. I got rid of, I don't even know if it was cable back then. It's been a while. And so, but I was listening to literally thousands of audio cassettes, thousands. And I would listen to some of them over and over and over again. We've gone through the periods of audios to CDs to now YouTubes and videos and social media and podcasts now. And so it's the same thing today. I was being recommended over and over again to just get outside of my comfort zone. And I remember I have so many memories of feeling uncomfortable, being 21 years old at the time and sitting down with people that were, twice my age, were super successful compared to where I felt like I was at in life. But I also went through some challenges too, and some of them were financial. But I think a really big challenge that I had to deal with was myself, and so that's why personal development was huge. They also taught me that I needed to attend major events, and so that's what I did. Any waiter income I had, or any income that I had with my previous business, was invested back into my business. So eventually I ended up having my first child. Some things happened, and I didn't really understand compensation plans in that opportunity at the time. And so I started really learning what it takes for companies to survive, to thrive, for looking at the compensation plans, I was looking for the ultimate opportunity. And I looked at over 100 different companies at the time. Okay. Like, this is over a period of time. I looked at lots of opportunities. I met people. I was on the phone with them. And this is over a period of about a year and a half. And then I got this magical phone call one day from somebody that was my previous mentor. And he said, "Bryan, we found it." And I heard of the name of Usana before, but this was one of the few companies that I felt like I didn't know anything about yet. And I'm so glad I didn't. So he said, "You need to come to Houston, Texas tomorrow. You got to be here tomorrow, because we're going to share something with you that's going to totally change your life." And so I respected him because he'd invested into me and was successful with anything he'd done in his life. And so that's the day that I took a look at a couple of videos about this company, about Usana. And I didn't sign up that night, but I just knew. I had that intuition inside that this is what I was going to do from now on. And for me, Usana, I remember driving 3.5, 4 hours home that night, and the sky was clear. I could see the stars. I was driving a little two-toned yellow truck, and it was two-tone yellow and rust. It was an old Volkswagen. It was an old Volkswagen pickup truck, and most people have never really seen those unless you go down to Mexico. But anyway, so I took a look at Usana. I decided the very next day they traveled from Houston, came to San Antonio. I enrolled, and I signed basically my Declaration of Independence personally. Got involved with Usana. I was decided that I needed to be teachable, that there were serious pros that knew exactly what they were doing. I didn't have to reinvent any wheels at all. And that there was a system that was involved. Like, Jared, your team, y'all have an amazing system. You have a method of operation. And the people that follow your system, your method of operation, they succeed. I've seen you with your system raise up now some the very top, like Sue Ann, for an example, Sue Ann to become one of the very top enrollers of preferred customers, and now it's becoming associates. And even the proof's in the pudding, folks. I mean, if you take a look at the United States top performers, who is a regular top recruiter in the United States? Jared and Crystal Krebs. They are onboarding more people. It's amazing. It's been amazing to watch. So you can either, watch what happened, you can become a part of what happened, or you can wake up one day and you can think, what the heck happened? And so I got started. I back in those days, we didn't have free sales materials, free tools like videos and things that we could use to share the opportunity with people. And now you as brand new associates or newer associates have such an advantage over people like me who got involved back in the days. And I remember starting out with 3 business centers for sure. I knew I wanted to start out with 3 business centers because people were going to ask me for years, how did you get started? And I wanted to be able to tell them, well, I started out with 3 business centers. And now today we definitely have a lot of people starting out as preferred customers, because that seems to be a very duplicatable way in today's society, the way things are working our profession. But people come on board however they need to come on board. It's not about us, it's about them. And so I got these sales materials, and I made a list of every single person I'd known in my entire life. This is what my upline was recommending me to do. Now we have Facebook. Everybody has an average of at least 300 to 400 friends. And, you know, you tap into a couple of them, 2, 3, 4 of them. Then they've got 300 to 400 to 500 friends on average. Then they've got, there's an unlimited amount of business. The worldwide population is growing faster than network marketing is. It's always been like that. It'll probably always be like that. Well, Jared and we're trying to, and I know Nancy on and some of the other people on this call, we're trying to do something about that and make Usana grow faster than the human population is, and we're expanding worldwide. So I basically started part-time for about my first year. I had a really busy job during the day. It was my first ever professional sales job, and it was so professional that I got to start at the very bottom of the rung. I was making, like, back in those days, $350 a week. And so I wasn't making enough money during the day, so I was back waiting tables at night again. It was so embarrassing because most of my friends had already graduated. They either joined the military or they had graduated with their own degrees and had been landing their dream jobs. And there I was, just starting out again. I had 2 jobs. I was still not really successful in anything before. But the one thing that I did have is I had vision, I had passion, and I had a lot of energy, and I was on the best products in the entire world. And so for me, I just knew, and I figured out very, very quickly that not just network marketing, my belief in network marketing was already through the roof. My belief in the products were gaining steam fast because I was noticing a difference in my own health, my own energy. But I'd invested a lot of time into personal development. So because of that, I was ready, and I started contacting people on a very part-time basis. Sometimes I only had about 15 minutes. Sometimes I only had 30 minutes in a day total because my life was busy. But I made sure that whatever 15 minutes or half an hour or hour, or whatever I had to put in that day to build my Usana business, I was going to do the things that made the difference. And that was reaching out and contacting people and just sharing the Usana message. And today, I do that with YouTube videos. Sometimes it's with other documents that we have. Sometimes it's with Usana's Media Center. It just depends. Sometimes I'm using Dr. Ladd's VIP program for protocols. I enrolled somebody last night with a huge order because they had a health situation, and she's going to be interested in the business, no doubt. But right now she's got to take care of a health situation. And so I used all kinds of tools, whatever I had access to. So make sure that you learn what tools are available for your business. Make sure you're on the products. Make sure you're in personal development mode. So I called people back in those days, and, you know, I had my first mobile phone, and I remember not really knowing what roaming charges were. And I remember after my second month in Usana having like a $3,000 bill. I was freaking out because that was more money than I was making in a month back then. And I was like, how am I going to take care of this? So there was all kinds of challenges. Trust me, I was behind in my bills. It was tough. I'd had my business partner, Monica Penrod, she wasn't real excited about this in the very beginning, but man, did she really come on board and she started putting her heart and soul into, you know, helping and building and growing the team as well with me. And so that was great. We had teamwork going on in that aspect. And so I just reached out to people. I was in follow-up mode. They've said the fortune's in the follow-up. I made sure to keep a list of everybody that I was in communication with. And they taught me that, my mentors taught me that the more people I could present to, the more people that I could expose the business to, and then follow up with them, I was going to find people that were interested and excited. So I remember that first night making calls, and I had about 45 to 50 people interested in looking at information. I set like 3 or 4 appointments. So I had information packages. Back in those days, we would actually mail them out. Now we can just text message or Facebook message stuff to people, information to people. But I took massive action basically with what I had access to. And about 2 weeks later, people started coming on board. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. So I locked in my top 2 people, then my top 4 people, then helped them lock in their top 4 people. And then I remember getting my first check was like $800 for the week. And that was more money that week, my first check in Usana, than I had ever made in a month in my previous opportunity. And so for me, that was just huge. My next check was $0. But after that, I never got a check. I never got a $0 check ever again. My goal was to make sure no matter what, that every single week I earned a check no matter what. So it was like $100 a week, $300, $100, $200, $400, $600, $100, $800. I was building the base of my business. And so, so after about 3 weeks into this, I told my business partner, Monica, I said, you could, because we had a new baby, and I wanted her to be able to have the opportunity to be able to be a full-time mother. So that's available in this opportunity, any dream that you have. So she got to quit her job a few weeks into the business. And it was a couple weeks after that, I decided to leave my night job waiting tables. So I put myself on the line, and I still had my daytime job for several more months, but I just kept at it day after day, week after week, month after month, and started sharpening. I was continually sharpening my skills, learning how to deal with objections. There was only really 10 that boiled down to 4. And after you hear the same thing over and over again, it's really like, those are the reasons, like if they don't have time or they don't have money or if they're not healthy, well, those are the reasons actually to join this business so you can have free time, so you can have extra income, so you can have more income, so you can have better health, so you can live whatever dreams it is that you desire. So I remember my vision getting bigger and bigger, and I saw the potential and possibility to build a worldwide family of like-minded people that wanted to help change the world. And I love the vision of Usana being that, what an amazing vision to become the healthiest family in the world in mind, in body, and in spirit. So that to me just drove me. And so ended up becoming an achiever in Usana. That first check, it was like 4 or 5 months later, became a director in Usana. And then about 11 months into the business, became a silver director. Now, back in those days, to be a silver director, we had to actually maximize the business center at 5,000 left and right. And so it was a little bit different. The compensation plan now is way better than it was back then. It's easier to earn checks now. It's everything's more simple now. I love that. So about 11 months into the business, I ended up, are we okay on time?
Yeah, we're going to open it up in maybe 2 minutes for questions.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll get going on this part then. So about 11 months into the business, I ended up picking up my boss from the airport, driving him to a local coffee shop, and he was like a regional vice president for a Fortune 500 company. And I had written out like a vision letter, like my retirement letter. I wanted to be able to give my retirement letter to my boss, and I sat down at a coffee shop and handed him my retirement letter and basically said, "You're fired." It was such an exhilarating experience to go full-time with my network marketing business. Then eventually, basically over the next, I had some more challenges right after I went full-time. It wasn't easy, but it was so worth it. And I wanted time freedom, but staying consistent and building a system of here's what to do, here's how to do this business, anybody can do it, here's what everybody else is doing, and developing lots of success stories. My business got to get to a point to where it's basically now duplicated. $1 Million Club members now growing into the dozens across the United States, Mexico, down in Latin America, Europe, distributors on just countries around the world in 4 continents now. And it's like, wow. And I know I didn't get to really talk a whole lot about this, but I got to a point in time where I got to take a break for about 7 years. And looking back, I wish I wouldn't have taken a break, but my business was developed prior to social media. And so now, after watching Jared and Crystal and what they've been doing, with social media, and then tapping into events like GoPro coming up here in a couple of weeks in Las Vegas. I can't wait for that. This past May, I decided to just really get cranking again. And the old dreams I used to have, plus many more new ones, are now back on the horizon. Things are happening now in a big way. Momentum's occurring. And I'm more excited now than I've ever been before. And I just see so much potential for all of you. So I hope that you really grab this by the horns and just go for it. It's so worth it.
Oh my gosh, I love it. You're so right. It's like a new day in our company, and with all the social media and all the things that we have access to now, it's truly amazing to be able to connect with so many people and not have to leave the house. It's truly a home business now if you want it to be. And I remember the days where I was always out at coffee shops. I was always out at Barnes & Noble. I was always out. I never was home because that's where people were. And it's okay to be out there and do that. But man, I just love my lifestyle now. And I'm going through so many more people, and it's so cool. So thank you for sharing that, Bryan. And we want to open it up for the last maybe 5 minutes for questions. If you have a question for Mr. Penrod, please type it in the chat here, and I will read it off. We have time for maybe 2 or 3 questions. Our first question is from Sue-Ann Knobloch in San Antonio. She says, Bryan, where do you see Usana going in the future?
I see the potential for Usana to become, in the near future, to grow from a $1 billion company to a $2 billion company. I see the potential definitely for Usana to become a 5 and even 7 billion, or maybe even a $10 billion company. The growth and the steadiness of having 17 years in a row of record growth. I think most of those were all double digit, and seeing what can happen now and how the profession's growing and how just Usana is unique. We have plan, and our products are so unique and different. The fact that we have reentries when people capture that big vision is just different than everybody else. The timing's amazing. We have products that people can't get anywhere else. They're consumable, and they change lives on a long-term basis. People get on the products and they want to be on them lifelong. So I see Usana doing nothing but rising. I really do. I think it's going to be slow and steady. There's going to be periods of fast times too, but it's going to be like it was the last 10 years and the 10 years before that. I've been involved for 21 years now, and the only down year we had was the year I joined. And you know what? It didn't matter. We built anyway. When you got big vision, you just do it.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So true. I have a question.
Okay.
If you go back to the Bryan 21 years ago with the Bryan now, what advice would you give that Bryan?
Okay. So the ability to laser focus is one of them. So I was definitely laser focused with growing my Usana business, our business, so focused. What I would do is to take that laser focus and not just have it on business, but also to take care of my body, to take care of my relationships, to invest even more into people, because this is, yes, a product business, but it's really a people business. And so by investing in myself, in my own personal development, and then investing in everyone else's personal development, that's where I believe the magic happens in this profession. Because when you build up other people to where they believe in themselves, to where they can do this business too, you're creating basically a wave of momentum that's unstoppable, because that begins to duplicate. And when you're developing independent leaders like you've done, Jared, who develop independent leaders, that is where massive momentum can really take place and happen.
Love it. Oh my gosh. I'm taking notes.
Let me say this too. This is the best description I've found about building a Usana business. You work, You work, and then you get paid. You work, and then you get paid and get paid. Then you work, get paid. Then you work, get paid, get paid. Then you work and you get paid. And then eventually it gets to a point in time where you just get paid, and work every once in a while.
Oh my gosh. Preach it. I love it. So true. And yeah, when you build that residual base and you have leaders and you have excitement, it's just the money just keeps coming. And then you think back about how it used to be so hard to get points. It used to be so hard to get, and now they're just flowing like crazy, and it's exciting.
It is.
Absolutely. So we got a lot of comments coming in here. We have time for one more question, but I want to read some of these comments. Becky Armstrong from Salt Lake City. I just wanted to say I'm so excited to share your story of the I don't have time for people I know. So that what you shared there. She has heard your story before, but she was especially encouraged by it today.
Thank you.
Nancy On from California asks, how do you not let distractions get to you? Like social media, time suckers, or challenge raising children, like, because that will take a lot of time away from your business. Like, how do you not let the distractions get to you?
Yeah, I get, Nancy, to all of those distractions. And so for me, I've had to write down my goals. I've just created a new movie script for my life, for my business, where I see the future being, and I read my goals in the morning and at night. I do my auto suggestion every single morning and night, where I see myself headed. So my brain is automatically, subconsciously focused on those tasks. When I go into social media, if I do spend time scrolling, it's with intention, and it's with intention of love, comment, love, make connections, and then it's back to doing what I do with reaching out to people, with setting appointments. So yeah, it's easy to get distracted, but by focusing on like my vision board, my movie script, my goals, my auto suggestion of where I see myself in now and in the future, for me, that's helped keep me on track. And then everything else, because I have goals in every area of life now, not just with Usana, but the other goals end up happening as well, because, well, those, like, family is part of my brand online. Just like in Nancy, in your case, you have an amazing brand now. You've got your spouse, you've got your family, you're amazing. Like, you can cook, girl. I've seen you make some amazing dishes. You have a leadership brand to re-tap into that is so phenomenal. So anyways, when you focus on your brand and you have all the other areas of your life into that, and then you're really focused on your goals, for me, it's way easier to be like laser focused.
I love it. You're so right. When it comes to having clarity, the clarity is what helps you not get off track too far. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have that clarity, then it's very easy to get distracted by the squirrels and the bunny rabbit and whatever else. Thank you so much, Bryan. All right. So we have a quick question from Phyllis Walker from Salt Lake. She says, what book or books do you recommend besides GoPro?
Oh, there's so many of them. I like books recently by Gary Vaynerchuk. I like sometimes even going back to some of the classics, but I'm actually not even reading as much. I know some people prefer to read, but I like actually scrolling through other people's stories that I'm in contact with that are professionals, not just in network marketing, but in other fields. And they're constantly producing content and showing their books and what they're interested in. I'm able to capture this. So I love, like, Darren Hardy, The Compound Effect, some of the classics like Think and Grow Rich and The Magic of Thinking Big, and tapping into just those timeless principles as well. I actually just attended an event with Big Al Schreider recently and bought his entire library, tons of icebreakers and communication techniques. So once you tap into those, then it opens up. So one of the ways you can do that is you can go to the local Barnes and Noble, or any bookstore in your area. Look at the marketing and advertising and the personal development sections, and they will have some amazing books just to give you some ideas if that's one way you want to go. You can also look at top books, top categories lists as well. So that's another way to find amazing cutting edge now books that are relatable and relative to today.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah, it's not, reading is great and we still need to read, but yes, there's so much great content out there, especially with story. If you're not doing story, you need to be doing story. That is the behind the scenes of your life. And you don't have to show a lot, but just 5 or 6 clips a day or whatever. And it makes a huge difference, right?
Jared, aren't you seeing more people viewing your stories than your actual posts?
It's about the same now.
About the same now? Okay.
Well, story actually gives you that information. You don't actually know who all sees your post, but with
right.
story you do. And so you get some extra, let's say, metrics that you don't get in posting.
I think it's been phenomenal to use the stories. Yeah. I'm like every day, got to have it.
Oh, love it. Yes. All right. So Bryan, I cannot believe the half hour has passed so fast. Thank you again. And what is your final piece of advice to everybody who's watching?
2020 is about to happen. What's your 2020 vision? What's your 2030 vision? Think about that. Think, 10 years and 5 years down the road. But this next decade is about to begin. We've got a few more weeks now. And during the winter time of any profession or business, or even just the actual season of winter itself, is the best time to take action on making things happen. Because when January 1st rolls around, do you have your goals already set in place, or do you still have to set them? When January 1st of 2020 rolls around, do you already have an exact game plan built with your mentor on how to take your business to the next level? Do you already have that set up? And I think I'll leave you with this. What are the things inside of you that you've got this intuition that you need to do to be able to become a little bit more uncomfortable and get out of your comfort zone? I know for me at the beginning of this year, it was actually starting to do my first Facebook Lives. And so I've done, a couple dozen now. And I remember feeling so uncomfortable in the beginning. But guess what? A lot of people don't know that you're uncomfortable. And they don't, you know what it does? Even if they do see you being uncomfortable, it makes them believe that they can do it too. So just whatever it is that you need to do to get outside of your comfort zone, or ask your upline, your mentors, exactly what that is. Do that, and do that now before next year starts, because what you're setting up for 2020 can be amazing. I think 2020 is going to be the best year ever.
I love it. The year of perfect vision, the year of tunnel vision. It's so many vision puns you can do in 2020.
Yeah.
It's the roaring 20s. Oh my God.
Woo, I love it.
I love it. Well, thank you again, Bryan. It's been a pleasure having you on. And everybody, we're going to unmute the lines right now. My dad's about to hit unmute and say, thank you, Bryan, and have an awesome day.
Thank you, Bryan. Have an awesome day. Have an awesome day.
Thank you, Bryan. Have an awesome day.
Thank you.
I'm going to call you.